Welcome to Growing Tall Poppies, Thrive After Trauma. I'm your host, Dr. Nat Green, and I am so excited to have you join me as we discuss what it means to navigate your way through trauma or significant challenges and not just survive, but to thrive after it. This is a space for people who've been through trauma or adversity, have done some healing, and know they're meant for more than just coping. This podcast is about post-traumatic growth, not getting back to who you used to be. Rather, understanding who you are now and learning how to stand tall without shrinking, forcing, or abandoning yourself. Here, we explore identity after adversity, integrity and visibility wounds, nervous system wisdom, and what it really takes to move forward in a way that feels aligned, embodied, and true. You will hear a blend of deep solo conversations and powerful guest interviews with people who have lived this work, not just studied it. Because growth doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from understanding how you adapted, honouring your nervous system, and gently updating the old agreements that no longer fit the life you're ready to live. If you're ready to stop hiding, stop performing, and start owning who you are becoming, then you are in the right place. Let's grow tall together. Hello and welcome back. I'm super excited today to bring you our next guest on the Growing Tall Poppies podcast. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome a lovely lady who I've recently connected with. Her name is Kerry Borcherding. Kerry is the co-founder of Evolve Institute, a speaker and a pioneer in 5D leadership. She's passionate about helping people become the CEO of their own inner world so they can create new realities rather than remain trapped in old patterns. With over 2 decades in psychology, neuroscience, and transformational leadership, she guides leaders into profound inner shifts and more aligned ways of living and leading. And she does this through retreats, immersive programs, and in-person experiences. So welcome, Kerry. It's so great to have you here.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to get to know you recently.
Yes, it was. And I'd love for you to start. I gave the spiel about who you are and a little bit about you professionally. I'd love you to just share a little bit more about who you really are and what you enjoy doing in the world.
Hmm. Let's see who I really am. That's such a good question. Um, my my most happy place actually is being in the wilderness and outside. And I spend so much time connecting to the universe and to my soul and to the animals and all of the multidimensional beings outside in any free time I have. And in fact, we often take a lot of clients and do work outside of the 4 walls as well. And before I started doing this, I also did a ton of equine assisted therapy with horses and started a nonprofit for women with breast cancer, combining that with equine therapy retreats. And so that has just always been a big passion of mine. And that still kind of intertwines into the work that I do now and just personal pleasure as well.
I love that so much. And I can so relate. There really is nothing better than getting out in nature and just connecting and going back to basics. Oh, I love that. And I love the equine therapy. I remember a number of years ago now heading over to Oregon and
Mm.
went to this amazing place where they worked with kids who'd had a number of life challenges and issues, and a lot of the therapeutic work was around equine therapy, and it was magic, and the
They are. They're just
changes, amazing.
They are. They live very close to the veil. And I do believe that they are here to help to help humans kind of transition into this new 5D reality that we're moving into, and to help us be more connected to ourselves, more present, more authentic and true. And so every time I move away from, I have a horse, but every time I move away work-wise from them, they just keep calling me back and keep calling me
Ah,
back. So,
I hear
so
they
at
have
least
a
once
way
a
of,
year, I do some retreat or something with them usually.
amazing. Yeah, that it just fascinates me, as I said, and I do see the profound shifts with people who are working closely in the equine space. So
Yeah.
wonderful. And I know you've mentioned, and I mentioned in the intro, around this 5D stuff. I'd love you to share a little bit more about what 5D is and 5D leadership.
Absolutely. Most of us right now are living in sort of 3D consciousness, which is fear and separation. It comes along with all of the narratives and the conditioning and the um, victimhood that can come with
Mm,
it as well, sort of feeling like life is happening to us.
yeah.
And as we begin to raise our frequency, that shifts us into higher levels of consciousness that gives us access to love and oneness and this feeling that we are all connected and that we have so many other intelligences that we have access to. We have the intelligence of our bodies and of our energy and physical bodies and our soul and intuition and all of those other pieces. But when we're living in this kind of more dense frequencies, it's hard to hear those aspects of us, those internal um, leadership aspects, team aspects that have so much more information and guidance for us because the lower frequencies, our zone one team, we call them at Evolve Institute, the ones that kind of get in our way, like um, the troublemaker, the
Mm.
not good enough one, the judging one, those tend to get in our way. And it's hard to hear truth above the noise of those team members sometimes.
Oh, definitely. Yes, and so many of the people that I talk to, the people I work with, and the listeners often share with me about how they're in their head. They're
Yeah.
overthinkers, overanalyzers, and when
Yes.
you have capacity to open up to this other realms, the 5D rather than just the 3D, and for some people 2D, really, isn't it?
Can be. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we
difference.
often think about leadership sometimes as leading people external to ourselves, but yet we each are a leader and we're all leading our inner world teams. And our inner world teams reside at different levels of consciousness, just like people, when you're walking around the world, there are people that reside at different levels of consciousness. And so, as leaders, we have to be paying attention to who is leading our team right now. Am I walking
Mm,
out in the world and I'm leading with my not good enough one? Am I leading with my ego? Am I leading with my saboteur? Or am I, slowing down enough so I can begin leading with my soul? And with
mm.
my energetic being, which tends to be more truth tellers than
Yes.
those other ones.
Yes, definitely. I love that so much. So, as as we know, a lot of the guest interviews that I do center around people speaking about the challenges they might have experienced, not necessarily huge traumas, but adversity and challenges that they've navigated and sharing their pearls of wisdom. So, I'd love for you, if you're up for it, to share a little about what happened for you and the challenges you experienced.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I think about 10 years ago now, I was lying on my living room floor in a fetal position,
Hmm.
sobbing.
Oh, okay.
And I had just returned from another doctor's visit, and they were trying to figure out what was going on with my health because I
Hmm.
had started accumulating a myriad of symptoms, joint pain and digestive issues, and like my right eye kept swelling up for no reason.
Mm,
And once again, I had just returned from a doctor who basically said, I have no idea what's going on with you. It looks potentially like you have a collection of autoimmune issues, and you're just gonna have to learn how to live with it. And
Wow.
as I was lying on the floor that day, I heard this voice come through loud and clear that said, that is not true. And
Mm.
I knew, like, on such a deep level, that that was not going to be what I was going to deal with for the rest of my life, that that was not not my future.
Yes.
And I clearly heard my soul tell me that that was not my future. And so for the next few years, I still kept seeking ways to fix my autoimmune
Mm.
issue. And you name it, I did it. Anything Western, Eastern, acupuncture, naturopaths, whatever. I tried it all.
Yeah.
And in 2017, I met my business, who's now my business partner, Stephen, my business partner at Evolve Institute. And he asked me two questions
Mhm.
that radically changed my perspective. And the first question was, out of all of the conditions that you could have manifested, why autoimmune?
Mm.
And so, for the people listening, you can think of a challenge that you have, and it doesn't necessarily have to be health. I mean, it can be trauma, it can be health, it can be a challenge in your business or relationship. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
because the question remains the same for no matter
Mm.
what challenge. But out of all of the things, why that challenge? And the second question was, who on your team, on your inner world team that I was just talking about, who on your team is creating it and why?
Mm. What great questions.
And
Wow.
that took me from that 3D perspective to that more 5D perspective. And as I sat with that, what came to me is that for most of my life, I had it all together. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I was
Yep.
a perfectionist, I was an overachiever. Everybody used to come to me to get answers for, to get advice. I was kind of always named the mom of my friend group. And when I got out of college, I moved to Aspen, Colorado, and I think it was the first time I really felt just fully free,
Okay.
and probably not in the best way.
Mm.
And I went off the rails. I did things that I had never done before. I got into partying and drugs and drinking, and I made a
Mhm.
ton of mistakes. And I think I didn't realize quite how much trauma that actually resided in me after I left there. And I found that I kept for years beating myself up and hating myself and going over, oh, I should have
Mm.
done it that, if I just didn't do that. And I'm sure people can relate to
Oh,
that
yes. It sounds
kind of
very
like
familiar.
constant spitting and beating up. And I wish I would
Mm.
have, I wish I should have. And so as I really started to look at that, I realized how many of my zone one team, of my punishing one and my self-hating one,
Mm.
that they were doing exactly what I was doing to my own body. They were creating so much emotional pain that it literally translated into my body attacking itself, just like I was attacking myself.
Mm. Wow. And that,
And
yeah,
go ahead.
that would not be lost on you. And as you say that, it's like, ah, yes, really, it's carrying that deep shame, self judgment, and continuing to beat yourself up.
Yeah, but I mean, for years, it just did not strike me as that.
Of
But
course not.
when that light bulb moment went on of, wow, my inner world is creating my outer reality. And
Mm.
it was in that moment that I realized, oh, I can actually put on my CEO hat, so to speak, and start leading my inner world team in a different way. And people can probably relate to this, instead of, avoiding them and getting irritated and frustrated, like, oh, I'm so sick of not feeling good enough. And like, I just wish I would
Mm,
stop that. Instead of kind of pushing all of those team members away, I started listening to them and loving them and appreciating them and like listening for the message that they were giving me.
mm.
And as soon as I started doing that, I think about 3 months after I really started paying attention and loving them and beginning to give room for my soul to come through that noise, the symptoms began to subside, and
Wow.
now I have zero autoimmune issues.
Oh my goodness. So seriously, 3 months.
Yeah, it was really fast. I mean, I don't think that's
Yeah.
always the case, but for me, I think it was so loud and they were wanting to hear what they were saying so much that it dissipated for me really quickly once I started listening.
Mm. I love the way you've framed that. So acknowledging all these different team members and often what I would refer to as identities, various
Yeah,
identities within ourselves, but
yeah,
becoming the CEO. So really being at cause and yeah, rather than at effect. So no longer that victim of what have I can I do about it? This is how it is. So that's a
yeah.
huge shift. What did
Yeah,
you
and it's
notice
interesting.
then?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, go.
I was just going to say it's interesting because I think that that can be overwhelming for some
Mm,
too, to take 100% responsibility of, oh, I'm creating this. And for me, what happened is it became so empowering that I didn't have to look outside of myself. I didn't have to find another doctor. I didn't try to have to fix the problem, that I created it so I could uncreate it. And that if I could just work with my inner world, that together, just me and myself and all of my team, that we could just create a new reality that actually made that problem obsolete. I didn't have to fix anything. That
mm,
autoimmune didn't have to be fixed. I just created something different, and that, they didn't need to beat up on me anymore because I created a new reality. And so the autoimmune just went away. And so for me, it was really empowering to take responsibility.
yeah, I love that because yeah, the reality is, and I'm so glad you raised this, that it's very easy for people to pick up on that, oh, it's all my fault, and
Yes.
blame ourselves and add more self blame to that
Yeah.
conversation and another little voice to add into the mix. And that's not what we're saying at all. It was that whole
No.
shift in your perspective that if I own this stuff, then it can be created differently as well. So that shift in perspective made the
Yeah.
biggest difference.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't about adding more shame or, oh, I wish I would,
No.
if I just would have done this. It was more
Mm.
like, oh, like, what's the new thing that I want to create, that where I'm healthy and well, and how do I move towards that versus pushing away from what I do not want?
Mm. So focusing on moving towards rather than moving away from. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what else did you start to notice where you were listening to this? Things seemed to resolve. What else changed for you then?
I mean, I think that just changed my whole kind of world view in general. Um, there was something that happened where I could pull back um, to a higher perspective and be able to see kind of everything different. As I walk around the world now, I constantly am asking myself, like, what zone am I in? Who is leading? And there was something so incredibly empowering about not ever not wanting to be not good enough, or not ever dropping down into feeling sad one day or feeling
Mm,
frustrated one day. It was more about when I go there, how quickly can I shift? How quickly can I become aware? And then how quickly can I shift? Because it is constantly a choice. And so the more I have done this work and the more my clients have done this work, the faster they get out. It's like,
Mm.
oh, I notice I'm feeling frustrated right now, or I'm being reactive or triggered. And I notice that, and that it's not going down the rabbit hole for a week or 2 weeks. It's, oh, I notice and I'm going to shift. And then their frequency raises, and then the ripple effect of that frequency that frequency has on their families and their friends and the people around them. It is also that piece of the ripple effect that we have when we are functioning at a higher frequency, and we're able to move out of that response faster.
Yeah. So, what did you notice about the relationships with people around you as you started to operate differently?
Well, it's funny because it's like my intention wasn't necessarily to have people respond differently. It was just as I started shifting and changing, and as I started living more from my soul and from those higher zones of perspective, we naturally become more peaceful and more calm. And so that just, many people would come up and just say, "Oh, you feel so grounded," or like there's something different about you. I'm not exactly sure what it is. And, more people want to be around you and be in that energy, especially in what's happening in the world right now and the chaos and a lot of fear and the collective fear that is happening right now. The more of us that are looking at our internal world and the wars that we're having inside and
Mm.
starting to shift that, the more I think everybody around us begins to feel that peace and calm, and that's available to us even in the midst of the chaos that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many layers to this and so many questions. I think, oh, we could talk about this all day. So, what about could you dive a bit deeper into those four zones of consciousness for us
Sure.
so we can help our listeners understand a bit more about that?
Yes. So this is the framework that we use at Evolve
Mm-hmm.
Institute, and that is that in zone one, that is the overall view is you're a victim of circumstance. So the viewpoint, the worldview you have is that the life is happening to you and you don't have much say in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for example, in health,
Mm-hmm.
it happened to you. I had I don't understand why the universe would have given me an autoimmune disease. I eat really healthy. I exercise. I'm a good person.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this happening to me? Of all the people, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
I haven't done anything to deserve it. So that is kind of zone one. And
Mm-hmm.
the aspects of yourself that live within zone one are the fearful one and the judging one and the reacting one.
Yeah.
And then you might get sick of being in zone one and feeling like you don't have any say in your life. And then you would move to zone two, which is problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a health problem, so I'm going to go to the doctor and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
figure out what I need to do to fix my health problem. But then let's say maybe I fix one thing and then something else arises. I take one medication and that medication, I have to take another medication because it causes
Mm.
another problem. And so I have to take another medication to quell the problem.
Yeah.
So you're kind of on this constant cycle of problem solving, solving another problem, creates another
Mm.
problem. And there's this never-ending feeling of not having enough. Like
Okay. Yeah.
you're always chasing the next thing. You need more money, you need a bigger house, you need whatever. There's
Mm-hmm.
always kind of a lack
Yeah.
feeling. And then both all of those are sort of in 3D consciousness, fear and separation.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you might get tired of all that problem solving, you move to zone three, which is that area of beginning to listen to your soul. You know that there's more. You know that there is a more peaceful way, a more soulful way. You start listening to your energetic intelligence, your physical sensations that are telling you something, and you start getting information from a higher perspective. You know that there is more, there is a oneness that you feel, a peace that you feel. And it's not about solving a problem, it's about creating a new reality
Mm-hmm.
where that problem doesn't exist. And so, in the example of health,
Mm-hmm.
it would be what I did with the autoimmune, like looking at what is the root cause of that? Why is that arising? And how can I shift that to create a new reality versus fix it? And I can do that. I have the ability and the power to do that inside.
And I imagine just hearing you say that, that zone 3, yeah, having that realization and doing that. However, I imagine that that would have been very confronting. And that would be
Yeah.
something that people, you know, would bring up a lot of emotions around, oh my goodness, do I really want to go there?
Yes, it is. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the easier path.
No, doesn't sound like it at all.
However, I will say that once you've had the embodied experience, the direct experience of being able to shift something and knowing that you have that and having the experience of doing that, it's hard to go back
I would
because it's
imagine.
extremely empowering to know that, wow, I am actually getting guidance every day,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I have a lot of support wanting me to have like an easy, peaceful life
Mm.
when I'm listening to my soul code versus like all of the noise that's happening around telling me which direction to go and what I should
Mm.
do. And somebody outside of me is telling me that this is what medication I should take, even though they're not in my body. And maybe
Yeah.
that doesn't align with me, but
Mm-hmm.
it might work for somebody else. So there is, although it is maybe not the easier path, once you have touched into it, it is the most beautiful
Yes.
path also.
Yeah. And I can
Like,
see how that lights you up, how much, yeah, your energy
I mean,
changes going, talking through the different paths even. So tell me about zone 4.
and then zone 4 is when you are connected to all things. So you start
Mm-hmm.
aligning also with the collective, with other people that are also on your mission, on your path. And work, it's not just a solo journey anymore. It is a
Mm.
collective journey that we are all pieces of the puzzle for one another. And you start attracting other people on your same journey that will also be part of your collective journey.
Mm. And as you talk about that, I'm just wondering for our listeners, is this a linear path or will you go
No.
up and down? Like all things,
Not for me anyway.
no. And I
No,
don't
I don't think it's a
imagine.
linear path for anyone. Um, just like I said, this isn't to say like one zone is necessarily better
Hmm.
or worse than another. Sometimes I wake up and I really just want to stay in bed with my head under the covers, and I'm
Yes.
just having one of those days. And again, it's like we're going to be on this wave of going back and forth, and it's more, can we become so aware of it so that we have the choice to switch if we want
Mm.
to. I still on occasion want to, like I said, like pull the covers over my head and not come out and wallow in my self-pity and
Yeah.
feel shitty for the day or whatever. Um, but I'm also noticing that as, you know, as long as I've been doing this work, that I spend less and less time there because it feels worse and worse to stay in like the soup.
Yeah.
So it's really just an opportunity of noticing and a choice to move.
And the more you spend time in these level, zone 3 and zone 4 and see that different way, I imagine you think, yeah, life will happen to all of us. And it's really important that we acknowledge when something's challenging, when something's difficult, and we pull up the covers and have a day in zone 1. That doesn't matter, does it?
Absolutely not. No,
No,
and it doesn't make us a bad person or a less
absolutely not.
conscious person. This is not at all about that. It's just having this awareness that we have the ability to access those other levels of consciousness, and we are that. I mean, we are, you know, Stephen and I bring groups together just to have an embodied experience of tapping into soul and
Hmm.
being in a group and remembering that we actually know each other from before, from other times, from other lifetimes. And when we bring those groups together and we don't do a lot of talking or a lot of teaching, people go into that instantaneously. Like there is no teaching how to do that. Somebody can look at another person and you tell them to give them a message from their soul, and they will do it even if they have never talked to their soul before. I mean, it is
Wow.
amazing when we come together in that frequency. We all have access to that all the time. It's just often the busyness of our mind and the noise that's being created. And so, what we're teaching is that we all have that access anytime, and it's always a choice. And
Mm.
you get to choose, and it's not good or bad, which whatever you choose. But there's so
And
much unlimited possibility.
yes. So tell us a little bit more about where our listeners can find you and find out more about the Evolve Institute.
Yeah. So our probably our website is a great place to go, which is just evolve.institute. Super
Hmm.
simple. Um, our events are put up on those pages, and you can contact me from there. I'm also on all the typical Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and you can DM me on any of those channels. I'm also very happy to offer. If you are interested or you're curious or you want to know what zone you're in or you want a quick tip of how to get out of a challenge that you're in, I'm also happy to meet with people. So feel free to write me and I'm happy to book a session, like just a free 15-minute session with people just to touch base and see if this aligns or if it's helpful. I can usually get people out of some place pretty quickly or see a different perspective.
Oh, that's very generous. Thank you. And I'll put all those
Yeah,
links in the show notes for sure.
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. So, what would be a tip that you could give our listeners from all the experiences you've had and the learnings and how far you've come? What would be something that they could access maybe right now to improve things for them?
One of the number one 5D principles that we teach is to do the loving thing.
Hmm.
And that means for yourself as well as for others, and yourself most importantly. So, through your day, as you're walking through your day, it's a great way to come back to yourself just to ask when you're out in the world or you have a thought to ask yourself if is that the loving thing? Is that something that's making me feel expansive or contracted? And if it's
Mm.
making you feel expansive, amazing. And if it's causing contraction, then there's something that's not loving within that to yourself. So it's a quick thing that you can ask
Yeah.
yourself.
Very, very helpful and something simple and easy that we can all start to just be aware of, take notice of, and do differently now. I love
Yeah.
that so much.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things, well, firstly, let me see if there's anything else you'd like to share, any other tips,
Mhm.
anything else that comes to you as I go share your wisdom for us all now.
The one other piece I think I will share is um, the importance of being in the body. And I know with trauma, one of the things that we do when we've had trauma is to not be in the body.
Yeah.
And so if there is a time where you start to float away, to have that access point to your heart space, because usually our heart space is a very safe space within ourself to be. And just to place your hands on your heart and to feel like you get to create that safety within yourself. So that is the other tip, just to keep coming back into yourself in the safest way that feels good to you. But the heart space is usually a good access point to our own safety.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
love that so much. Thank you. And
Yeah.
one of the questions that I like to finish up on that I always ask
Yeah.
is, what do you think your younger self would think of what you've achieved and what you're doing now?
Mhm. And I just had this like vision of her come
Yep.
flashing through my mind of playing in the woods with the fairies when I was little, in Cincinnati in the woods behind my house. And so one of the things I hear her saying to me is, I'm so glad that you have returned to, that was kind of quelled a little bit just as we go through life and conditioning and school and all of those things. And so glad that I have returned to the expansiveness of the multidimensional world and beginning to listen to all of the things that that she could see and feel and hear and experience that as adults sometimes we forget about. And she's very happy that I am back in that land of experiencing all things instead of just kind of our smaller vision as we get into adulthood.
Oh, that's so beautiful. It gave me chills, gave me goosebumps. And I just think,
I love that question.
oh, thank you. And it's my favorite question because and everyone has that similar experience, just reconnecting to that little person again that gets lost along the way because life, yeah, it really happens to us and we forget a lot of that pure innocence that starts us off. So I love that. And she would be so proud and be so excited that you are sharing that knowledge and wisdom and experience with the world. So thank you so much.
Mhm. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a
Oh,
pleasure to be here and to be in. You hold a really beautiful, energetic space. So thank you for what you're doing.
thank you.
Yeah.
Now, remember to keep growing tall, like the tall poppies that we are, and keep shining brightly. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Thank you for spending this time with me on Growing Tall Poppies. My hope is that today's episode has offered you something more than insight, that it's helped you feel a little more connected to who you are now, a little more trusting of your body, and a little more permission to stand tall without shrinking or forcing yourself forward. Post-traumatic growth isn't about fixing yourself or returning to who you once were. It's about understanding how you adapted, honouring your nervous system, and gently choosing what no longer needs to come with you. New episodes of Growing Tall Poppies are released weekly, every Tuesday, and I'd love for you to continue walking this path with us as we explore identity after adversity, integrity and visibility wounds, nervous system wisdom, and what it truly means to grow forward, grounded, aligned, and embodied. If this episode resonated, I invite you to subscribe, follow, share it with someone that you feel might need it, or simply take a quiet moment to reflect on what's ready to move forward for you. You can also find me on Instagram at Dr. Nat Green, on Facebook at Dr. Natalie Green, or over on YouTube at Dr. Nat Green. And remember, you don't need to rush, and you don't need to hide anymore. Stay connected, stay true, and keep standing tall like the tall poppy you are. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.